Could be something, a car bomb. It could be Virginia Tech. There are a lot of things that we don't know and we hope will never happen, but what do we do when they do happen, and we kind of need to be prepared.
When children are dealing with difficult issues, it impedes their ability to learn. And so a lot of times if you don't take the time to address something that's, holding them up, they don't care about that math lesson or that language lesson. It's about something that's happening at home, and until they sort of have a chance to get past that, or at least recognize it.
We should be talking about what happens. Not so much, lock yourself in the room if Virginia Tech happens, but how to deal with a child's loss of its goldfish, or a divorce, or fears from mommy and daddy being in Iraq, or heaven forbid some children's parents are incarcerated. These are the realities of their lives.
And the ones who fail spectacularly are the ones who have trouble at home. They don't have a lot of caring adults.
We have inside of us this drive for the aesthetic experience to wonder why, And it's the same question whether it's a beautiful sunset you're looking at or it's 9/11 that happened, to the loss of someone that you love. We may even expect it, but we go, why? What is, and where am I going? So this is what's missing in education. We deal with the cognitive, and we strive for the abstract, but we don't ever talk about those other two things. They're not allowed, and yet they are that's part of what makes us a human being.
For what we're doing in this class, a metaphor became a way to express ideas and emotions that are difficult to talk about with the regular tools of expression, meaning words or even writing. And so sometimes being able to create a piece of art is an easier way to communicate your feelings. And so the food, even though it sounds kind of silly, I made paper mache food at my college class today. My kids thought it was hysterical. It's really just a beautiful way of communicating, because food is so central to our lives as human beings.
After a string of bloody attacks yesterday, Iraqi officials say the death toll is still rising from the suicide bombings. At least 200 people have died and 300 were wounded in what's called an al-Qaeda-style attack. We're getting word of a major offensive, meanwhile, in Afghanistan, where U.S.
Because my husband's deployed, and that tends to be a really difficult space for people to be in. It's really hard to talk about it, especially within that community. There's a lot of avoidance, I think, around it. And so for me, I was really looking at different vocabulary and ways that you can talk about difficult issues and still sort of respect the integrity of somebody's wanting that to be private.
With so much of what happens in school, teachers and kids have to walk a pretty straight line. And, from an artist, I think of the analogy there of being coloring in the lines. And a class like this gives kids and teachers like us that are here today permission to color outside the lines, to go a little further than what we're typically allowed to do in our professional lives as educators. To push the envelope a little bit, and if we expect children to do it, then we also have to know what that process feels like ourselves, and that's what this class is about.